Today I want to tell you about a pivotal moment that I had in my career and in my leadership and in my life. And this happened back in 2013. It was 9 years ago. It's a little bit of an embarrassing story. It isn't exactly flattering. It shows some low-level thinking that I was having at the time, but this is real life. This is how I learned this very valuable lesson. At the time, I was working for Bank of America. I was a district manager. I had 15 branches, about 250 employees, and my boss that I rolled up to had 10 of us. So he was overseeing 150 branches. We were on a conference call, as we were often, talking about a metric that was really important to us at the time. We had actually developed a way to track how our tellers did at engaging our customers at the teller line. And this was very important to us. It was a very positive metric that we were tracking. We were engaging our customers in conversations, asking open-ended questions, really trying to get to know them so we could figure out what their true financial needs were, and then we would try to change their lives by offering them products and services to help improve their lives. And we had found this metric that we felt like gave us a really good view of how well our tellers were doing having those conversations. And I hope my boss at the time doesn't mind that I refer to him by name. I don't usually do that and share who the characters are in my stories, but it feels like the right thing to do this time. So we were on this conference call. Johnny Montez was my boss and the area executive leading the call. He had asked one of us who was doing the best in this metric and having a lot of success to speak about how he was doing it. And his name was Robert. And at the time, I was really bringing up the rear on this metric. I was dead last in Johnny's area and very low in the entire West Coast and really the company overall. I just was not performing well with this metric. And so Robert shared with us on this call 4 or 5 things that he was doing that were working for him. They were helping him be successful. They were what was leading to his success. And when Robert was done with his presentation, I asked a question around, hey, Robert, all of this sounds great, but what 1 or 2 of these things do you feel has had the most effect on your results and your numbers? Like, which of these things is contributing the lion's share of the good here? And before Robert could answer the question, Johnny spoke up and came into the discussion and in a very respectful way, but I'll never forget what he did. And he said, Robert, don't answer that question. Amy, this is the wrong question to be asking right now. Robert here is having a lot of success and he has shared 4 or 5 things that are all working to lead to this success. There is no silver bullet here. There is no magic bullet. There is no hack or shortcut. If you want to be successful in this, I would suggest that you do everything that Robert has recommended. And I got off the phone and I thought about that for a while. And what was really interesting to me about that conversation, and again, this is just how I'm remembering it, but no one had ever said that to me before. In fact, my entire life, I had been looking for the hack. How can I get the best grades possible with the least amount of study or work? How can I be involved in the community and in service organizations and do that efficiently? How can I take the shortcut, the easy way out? At the time, I wasn't really doing all that well with my health and fitness, but I was trying to take shortcuts. If I just starve myself during the day and eat my calories just at night, that'll probably work, but it wasn't. And there were a lot of examples of that in my life. So what I decided to do was to give Johnny's advice a try. I not only went out and implemented all 4 or 5 things that Robert had been talking about on that call, I added 4 things or so of my own. I remember my district, my region, was doing something like 9 different behaviors or activities to drive success of this metric. We had all sorts of things going on. I had asked my branch managers when the reports came out, which was very often, to put them in a high trafficked area of every office, maybe by the restroom, at the break room. We had our own conference calls going on where people were sharing their successes. The tellers were talking about, here's how I'm winning. We were sending out emails and actually asking people to write back and share success stories. Anyone that was in the bottom 10%, they were either on a special call or having special coaching sessions, asking what their challenges were. We had leaders inspecting what they expected. When things weren't dispositioned, we would follow up on that and say, hey, kind of what happened here. We were doing all sorts of stuff. And I went from being at the very, very bottom of Johnny's area to the top. I became his number one employee on this metric. I also ended up in the top couple of spots in the entire West region. It was basically all the Western states and a state or two in. That was part of Johnny's boss's area. I started to lead that whole group, and I became number 8. I remember this, number 8 in the company-wide, out of 393 district managers that B of A had at that time. And I remember a very pivotal moment for me was I got 2 phone calls from district managers in other parts of the country. One came from Chicago and the other was either New York or Boston. But they both said to me, we're calling everybody in the top 10. You're in the top 10. This is very important where I work as well. I'm talking about it a lot with my boss. This has become a company-wide initiative. What are you doing? Tell me about it. And so I got to have that moment where I felt like Robert. I got to share all the many things I was doing. And that felt really, really good. And what I learned over the years after this happened to me is that Johnny was right. There is no hack or magic bullet or silver bullet to success in life. We're always, as a society, we're looking for the shortcut, the quickest way, the fastest way to get to results. And we're trying to find the 1 or 2 things we need to do that change everything. And real success often is not like that. It's a compilation of a lot of things. Southwest is a great example of this as a company. Southwest historically has done very well as an airline, and they do a lot of things really well. They have a very short turn time. Part of that is driven because they only fly one kind of plane, the 737. All of their crew and their pilots are completely interchangeable and fully trained. They don't serve snacks outside of just pretzels and soda and water. It's not like you can get a full meal. That also helps the turn times. They've got the cattle call seating. You don't have an assigned seat. You're just when you checked in is where your position is in terms of boarding. And they are very committed to customer service. They've got lots of fun, sort of kitschy phrases that explain their beliefs. Transparency, bags fly free, the fact that you can just cancel a flight on the day of with no fees or penalties. It's a really convenient system. And a lot of other airlines have studied Southwest or watched Southwest and say, we want to be more like them. We're going to adopt this 1 or 2 things of Southwest, and they'll apply it without a lot of success. And the reason that happens, I think, is because these other companies are failing to recognize and notice Southwest is not just doing 1 or 2 things well. Southwest is doing many things well. And it's not any of the 1 or 2 things, but it's how they bring it all together that is what is leading and driving their success. There is no 1 or 2 things. There's a strategy with numerous behaviors and activities that make it all work. When I became a marathon runner, I employed this strategy that Johnny taught me. There is no silver bullet. It's multiple things. I downloaded a fitness app. I began to run with Nike and Strava and Map My Run. I got a fitness band. I was very cautious and interested in what kind of shoes I was buying. I started downloading and creating playlists that were specific for the speed I wanted to run. I joined a running club. I started to track my goals on an Excel spreadsheet. I made goals around running all 50 states. I found people that were better at me at it and asked them their opinions. Running has become an obsession and a passion of mine, and it's something I've done fairly well in, but there were numerous things that I did as I started on that journey and created a commitment to my health and my fitness. And so I just want to share with you all that if you're trying to have success or greater achievement in any area of your life, stop looking for the silver bullet. Don't look for the 1 or 2 things. Don't look for the hack or the shortcut. Do the work, identify numerous different things that you're going to do that are part of your one strategy, and do them all. And don't be looking for the easy way out. Life is not like that. With that, I hope you make a great day. Oh, and Johnny, if you've watched this, I hope I got the story right. This is just how I remember it. And thank you so much for teaching me this very valuable lesson that has changed a lot of things in my life over the years. Everyone, make a great week.